day. Please, if you can hear me, kindly unmute your mic and reply. Good evening, everyone.
Hi there, good evening.
Okay, good evening. Happy Sunday.
Happy
Thank
Sunday.
you. Yes, happy Sunday. Thank you.
Good evening, Rafi.
Good evening. Good evening. So, thank you once again for joining us this beautiful evening. I'm excited to be here, and I'm sure you are. Um, my name is Faith Omodara, and I will be your host for the May edition of our monthly meet and chat with the professionals. And this is a program that is anchored monthly by the Finance Business Partners. So you might be wondering, who are we? So the Finance Business Partners is a community of finance and accounting professionals committed to changing the narrative of finance professionals. We do this by providing mentorship and coaching services to young individuals who want to build a career in accounting, finance, business, and related fields. In the course of this meeting, the link to our social media accounts would be posted in the chat box. Please do well to connect. Once again, good evening and thank you for joining us. Today's topic is of paramount importance in the field of auditing, and we have the privilege of having an esteemed guest speaker who will shed light on maintaining a balanced auditor-client relationship. Please join me in extending a very warm welcome to Mrs. Olaide Olatunde. Mrs. Olaide Olatunde is a distinguished expert in the field of auditing, and her experience spans several years in various roles within the industry. Her expertise and profound understanding of the dynamics between auditors and clients have made her a sought-after authority on this subject. She has not only excelled in her professional endeavors, but has also actively contributed to the development of auditing. Throughout her career, Mrs. Olaide has emphasized the significance of building and maintaining a balanced auditor-client relationship. She firmly believes that open communication, mutual trust, and collaboration are the pillars upon which this relationship thrives. Her insight into the delicate nature of this association have proven invaluable to both auditors and clients, leading to more efficient audits and enhanced overall performance. During today's session, Mrs. Olaide will delve into the intricacies of maintaining a balanced auditor-client relationship. She will highlight key factors that contribute to its success, discuss effective communication strategies, and share practical tips for auditors and clients to foster mutual understanding and cooperation. Our expertise will undoubtedly provide us with valuable takeaways and equip us with tools to create stronger relationships in our professional endeavors. It is an honor to have Mrs. Olaide Olatunde with us today, and we are immensely grateful for her willingness to share her knowledge and expertise. Also, without further ado, let us extend our warmest welcome to Mrs. Olaide Olatunde. Ma, we are eager to learn from you and engage in an insightful discussion on maintaining a balanced auditor-client relationship. Please join me in giving her a virtual round of applause as we commence the session. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. Just to put things in perspective, my name is Olaide Olatunde Eremiokale. So I think it must have been a bit of a challenge for Face to pronounce the whole thing. My name is Olaide Olatunde Eremiokale. Thanks for having me. It's going to be an interactive session. I'm aware that it's a meet and greet. So thank you for the virtual applause that I see all over the screen. Thank you. I'll go straight into what it is that a balanced client-auditor relationship is. So as auditors, external or internal, we are known as trusted business advisors. We are seen as trusted business advisors. Trusted in the sense that whatever we recommend typically is taken with levity. Whatever it is that we recommend to the stakeholders, internal auditors, that will be to management. And for external auditors, that will be to the board, that will be to the external users of financial statements. So regulators, tax authority, whatever reports we produce and issue is typically taken as locally by our institutional accountants or ANAN, depending on whichever body that the external audit firm and their partners belong to, right? In order to maintain a balanced client-auditor relationship, there are certain principles that are prescribed. Basic things like maintain your integrity, maintain your objectivity, ensure that your organization or your audit firm has the right skill set of professionals. So they have the right skills, they have updated and current training on changes and changes in the workplace, changes in the standards. As we all know, every year the different accounting standard setting bodies keep updating the available standards because there are changes in business. And because that's affecting Africa as a whole, for example, is ACTFA. I'm sure everybody's aware of that. So around Africa, not just in Nigeria, accounting bodies are stepping up. They need to ensure that whatever is available as rules guiding how accounting and financial reports are prepared, they meet up with the requirements of such an important agreement, the Africa Continental Free Trade Act, right? So it's as basic as that. What exactly are these rules, these guidelines that auditors have to ensure that they adhere to? So like I mentioned, things like ensuring confidentiality, things like this are the first things you need as an audit firm or as an auditor. You have your clients are a number of them, right? And you want to provide the best possible service to them. But you have to sit back and think, how do I ensure that at the end of the day, I'm still seen as not just as a trusted business advisor, and not just a business advisor, also a value-adding service provider, right? One of the most important things to consider after selecting your client is, so for example, this is the first year of, working with that client. You need to understand your client, understand their business. What do they do? Yes, you guys have signed your engagement letters. Now, what do they do? How do they run their business? What is the culture of this business? What strategy? What's your revenue model? These are questions that you have to ask yourself, because you will be approaching your clients and you cannot be approaching them without understanding what they're doing. Otherwise, you would not be providing the best value to them. So you need to take your time to understand the client's business, understand how macroeconomic conditions affect the client's business, understand the internal workings of the business. Have empathy, put yourself, in the place of the MD, of the CFO, understand their pain points. Let them see that you are truly interested even in the growth of their business, right? Very, very importantly, you also need to be accessible. That's the word I'm looking for. So be accessible. So you have an obligation to your clients to understand their business. You are the knowledgeable person here because you're the one that will be providing a report on their financial statements, a report on their internal control processes, a report on the various aspects of their business. You'll be giving an opinion on these to the board, to the shareholders and other users of these financial statements to say, look, everything that they are disclosing to you truly gives a true and fair view or otherwise of the business and their operations. So you have to do your homework, right? First year, moving on to the second year, there are certain threats to what we call, there are certain threats to the business relationship. You want to ensure that there's no interdependence Auditors are expected to be seen, they're expected to be objective and seen to be objective. So even in your dealings with your clients, you need to remember and keep this always at the forefront. Also, remember that what I mean by, and if you have any questions, please, you can, there's a chat box. You can put them in the chat box. We'll play them at some point, and we'll go over them. So I was talking about auditors have to be seen to be independent, objective, not just that they are not just seen to be, but also known to be. So you as an external audit firm or an external auditor should not be in the news for pollution or for there shouldn't be any bad publicity, so to speak, about your organization and about any of your partners. Your partners, your clients, like I mentioned earlier, see you as a trusted business advisor. So beyond just the audit also, they expect certain things like, obviously, at the end of your audit, recommendations for improvements in the internal control systems. If possible, recommendations for improvements even in their processes, right? Yeah. So that's the first set. Bringing it back or bringing it to people as an auditor, one of the most important resources you'll be dealing with will be your clients' people, the clients' officials. So you need to be a people person. You need to be able to build a rapport with your clients at any point in time. So if once you have agreed to commence the audit, please, when you're planning, you have to consider them in your planning. Communicate to them about timelines, what works for them, what timelines, considering their reporting deadlines as well. What's the best approach? Collaborate with your clients, so they don't see you as just an external party that comes, parties that way in. That's not the objective of an audit. If I remember some not so savory experience, where you have more senior members of the team or both sides admin timelines and not passing this information down to the account soldiers, it usually causes tension in the audit relationship. So it's best when planning to communicate all aspects, or as communicate as much as possible aspects of around time to all members of the team. So we'll expect that we'll commence the audit by certain dates. We'll expect that we'll have what we call an update meeting on the progress of the audit at certain intervals. It could be every week, it could be every 10 days, depending on the duration of the audit. Right? But make sure that you have a rapport, all members of the team have rapport with members of the clients as well. If necessary, let there be a proper introduction or a proper meeting where introductions are made on both sides, right? In planning your audit timeline, also consider the clients, their culture. Do they have something like maybe some people work remotely now? What would be the whole concept of interfacing with your clients? Those are considerations that you also need to consider. That puts me onto something around communicating, yes, on those agreed days, but you can be flexible, right? Yes, it may not happen on, or you had plans to meet every 10 days or every Friday or every Wednesday, depending on what days agreed, but something comes up, maybe the client know beforehand. Don't call them 5 minutes after the meeting was supposed to hold, when they're waiting for you and say, oh, we're so sorry, we couldn't come over because we had some clashing commitments or something like that. No, please be proactive. Consider that. Respect the time of your clients. Consider that they have put things on hold that you will be. So please take the time to communicate any changes as soon as these changes are known. So be flexible in that. I'll move the whole, now I want to talk about communication. Yes, communicating properly. The first thing that you need to communicate is your plan and your timeline, like I mentioned. In even carrying out this plan's timeline, you should consult your client staff and say, does this timing work for you? This is the time you want to come in. This is the time you want to have this particular, want to audit this particular business area, how long it will take, if it's possible, and what you would need. Please communicate upfront. Also find out how they prefer to communicate, because communication methods are often overlooked. It might be our culture within our own organization to use emails a lot and respond almost instantly, but for them it may not be that. It may be that they're more comfortable using even chats, even if it's like on your Google Team chats or even WhatsApp. Find out what exactly works for these clients. Remember, they are your clients, and accommodate them. This is all to create a relationship that will be sustained beyond the 2 weeks that you are on the field or that you are interfacing with them. So things like, what's your preferred, questions like, what's your preferred communication tool? Is it chats? Is it emails? Or even phone calls? Some clients like to have emails and then a phone call to follow up. You need to know exactly what it is that they prefer, and please use that. Don't be rigid and say, no, we only do emails. They don't see it, they don't see it. At the end of the day, your goal is a successful audit, and that's what you want to achieve. So you need to be able to, create the right environment for this to happen. So after talking about communication tools, right, you also need to consider that what are you communicating to them beyond progress reports? One very notorious issue that clients and auditors have is springing up of unexpected, or what clients will say, unknown issues. So for example, during the audit of a particular business area, maybe purchasing to payables or maybe debts, we realize that there are some long outstanding age receivables that have been sticking out for a while. The client is aware. The client has a process of vetting and maybe revalidating the long outstanding recoverable. However, the person auditing that caption decides that, this is something I'm going to throw in at the end, doesn't discuss with the client. I'm going to throw it in at the end when I'm submitting my my reports. And then the time comes where you're having maybe your discussion, maybe even an exit meeting, maybe even a meeting with board members, and then your audit committee members, and then you just throw that in. That's wrong. You're not trying to throw your client under the bus for any reason. Remember, you're a business partner, you're a trusted business advisor. They expect to hear your take on, and they also need a chance to tell you their own side. Don't, this usually will cause friction. It will cause bad blood, for lack of a better word, between the auditor and the client. So bring up things as they are occurring. For all may not even be an issue. It might just be a difference in how we understand what is going on, right? So bring it up early enough. Let the concerned client staff member, be able to shed light on why this thing has happened, why this particular balance is maybe long outstanding, or why this liability is not interest generating, which is not what is recorded in the loan agreement. Give them a chance to explain to you and then apply professional judgment to say, okay, this needs to be included, or discuss with them that we're going to include it even before. So whatever it is that will be included in the final audit recommendations list, that we call the audit letter, needs to be pre-discussed. And then the client staff should have an opportunity to respond to them before you take it to board meetings, for example. Yeah. Again, trying to understand the culture of the organization. Some organizations have this practice where maybe they have maybe Fridays, they have a round table where they go over certain things, understand what it is that they do, and use it, work with it, to help your own processes get responded to faster. Usually in an audit, you have something called a list of outstandings that you share, depending on what it is or what you've agreed beforehand. You need to understand these are a list of audit requirements, maybe a list of documents, maybe a list of outstanding schedules. How often should I bring this to the attention of the overall client staff that is responsible for the audit? It might have been pre-agreed that you bring it up once a week, or maybe at the beginning of the week and middle of the week, so that they have a chance to respond to it before the end of the week. But if you realize that something is stopping your work or causing unnecessary delays, you may need to take a chance and say, you know what, this needs to go before the beginning of the week, or this needs to be highlighted or discussed again before the end of the week. So take it upon yourself, to do that, again, considering the culture of the organization. You don't want to be seen as overly aggressive and then cause tension in the audit space. You don't want a situation where client staff will refuse to cooperate with you because they've seen that, all you want to do is maybe, which people have been accused of, you say, this one just wants to shine, in quotes, if you understand what I mean. And so you need to be, sensitive to what is going on around you. It's absolutely important. Again, be accessible. So be known to, if someone asks for, please can I have some time to discuss this, please let the client staff have that opportunity to discuss with you. Don't be seen as uptight or, unapproachable, for example. Yeah. Genuinely be curious to understand where it is or what it is that they want to discuss, and do your best to help provide, even if it's not a solution, but some form of direction as to how to handle the matter, especially if it's something like it's an accounting treatment of a particular transaction that's not clear. If you need some guidance, you can always consider talking to more experienced people within your firm or within your network, so that you can provide the client with a suitable response. Don't say, I'll get back to you, and not actually get back to them. Do your research, do your fact finding, and be able to provide reasonable solutions or direction or guidance to how you can solve the problem. Yeah. Again, one thing, like I said, don't spring up issues at the last minute. So first it was, don't spring it up without discussing, but don't even bring up issues at the last minute. As soon as it is discovered, please let your client know. Let them know that this is an issue, or this could be a possible issue coming up. You're not there to, like, auditors typically are called the police. So you're not there to police them. You're there to partner with them to help, provide, the best way forward to resolve the issue, and to be able to produce an audit report on their financial statements that, say this is a true and fair, this financial statements give a true and fair view of the business affairs and operations as at a certain date. Okay. I think surrounding communication, mutual trust and respect, I think I have gone with that. Okay, so the only thing is, the thing I would like to add is around objectivity. You're there to do a job, remember, so be objective. Don't let personal biases color how you treat certain situations or people. You are there for a particular objective. We are there for a particular reason. Please focus on while you are there, give your best performance at any point in time. Where it is that you seem to be lacking in maybe knowledge, seek a more experienced person that you can, reach out to for guidance. A more experienced person in terms of dealing with accounting issues or audit issues or technical issues. Read up on the existing accounting standards and technical guidance provided by FASB or NES, what's it now? FRC, more experienced partners in your firm. Seek out their input. No man is an island, right? So do your best, give your best to your clients. So around, again, what we find is that, in maintaining this balanced auditor-client relationship, we find that there's always from my experience, a lot of ex-auditors keep in touch, and they're no longer auditors, but they are actually people with responsibility in your new clients or in potential clients that you work with. Keep this network, keep it fresh, reach out as often as you can, but do not do something where you're disclosing confidential information about one client to another client. For example, yes, you could know, as a previous auditor, you could know the CFO in company A and in company B, and you all know each other, but let it not be seen that you're the one who is, giving confidential information about company A, operations to a party in company B. It would definitely have a negative impact on the reputation of that auditor or audit firm, and that's not the end goal, right? Yes, keep the network active. If necessary, have everybody happy, but not to the point where you are seen or you are known to be giving out confidential information. One of the fundamental principles of accountants, that we live by is integrity. And with integrity, we are saying that, look, I deal fairly with everybody. I'm trustworthy. I deal with honesty, not trying to play any unwanted parts in causing any form of business issues between parties. Other principles: integrity, objectivity, professional competence, confidentiality, and of course, professional behaviors. So with this, I hope that I have been able to shed light on. Okay, so one last thing is what we call partner rotations, right? So just quickly want to touch on that. We're trying to create a balanced relationship, client-auditor relationship, right? For certain parts of audits or certain regulators require that auditors be rotated. So two things can happen. Either the client partner on an engagement steps down and another partner within the same firm gets on board, or the entire firm itself has to rotate out as an auditor of that company and then take on another. And usually what happens is that when an audit firm steps off or resigns willingly or due to rotation rules, resigns from an organization, they usually will go on to meet a competitor. When you go on to meet a competitor, there are certain professional guidelines and ethical requirements. We are not supposed to be discussing, oh, when we did this on this. Usually in Nigeria, we see that a lot with banking and with certain quoted companies. You're not going to be saying, oh, when we did the audit of AY, we saw this, so we're expecting the same thing in the company of BZ, right? Focus on your clients, give them the best that you can. No comparisons is absolutely not necessary. You want to be seen again as independent. You are independent auditors after all. You don't want a situation where your client will be very, very willing to drop your firm after a couple of, weeks because, oh, they talked about this or they talked bad about this company, so we don't want, to use them again. Don't want to create that unnecessary bad blood again, like I mentioned previously. So that's that for audit or rotation in an audit engagement. So, Faith, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Olaide, for that amazing session. I learned a lot. And yeah, so if you have any question right now, we are taking questions from you. If you have any questions, kindly raise up your hand, or like you could use the chat box. So while we are getting ready for that, I have a question here. So you were talking
Go
about
ahead.
building, like when you were talking, you were saying something about building a rapport and like a relationship with your client. So I want to ask, like, how can you like strike a balance between maintaining professional skepticism and building a trusting relationship with clients? Thank you.
Okay. Great question. Absolutely. So when we talk about professional skepticism, that means you always have your, what I call, or what we call like your thinking cap behind what you're told. You don't just take it at face value. Remember, you're there to do an audit. You're not an interviewer. You're not a journalist. So you need to know that, okay, whatever it is I'm being told, I should be able to see the facts behind the figures that you're talking about, right? So if it's a number that has to maybe share capital, maybe someone talks about, oh, we got funding from our foreign partners to the tune of XYZ. Okay, professional skepticism, there's some document that you should see, to confirm that figure, apart from the amount that we can maybe trace to the bank statement. As we know, it's not money laundering. So you want to ask a question like, okay, there's a certificate of capital importation, for example. Can I see it? It was dated when? So you have to be able to say, I'm just asking for this document. I'm not saying you are lying or anything like that. Remember, you're building a rapport. I'm not saying you are lying. I'm not saying that, but I have to test because that's what I'm here for. I'm an auditor. I'm here to verify. So you don't take things at face value. You go behind, you dig, you see the facts, you see the figures, you see the documentation behind it. Hope that answers your question, Faith.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much, ma'am. So there's someone else raising up his hand, Mr. Idris Abubakar. Can you like unmute your mic and ask your question?
Okay, so thank you very much, Ma, for the insights you've shared thus far. So my question centers on communication lines between an auditor and his clients. So to what extent are auditors expected to use technical terms? So some clients now, it's possible they don't really understand, like in maintaining that communication link between an auditor and a client, to what extent should the use of technical terms be used?
Okay, thank you for that question, Idris. Very simply, technical terms in accounting, usually, if your client does not understand them, it's up to you to be able to explain, in a way your client can understand. Because what benefit will it be to you if you are speaking above your client's understanding and you keep talking like that? What benefit will it be to you? Because at the end of the day, you won't get what you want to get. So as much as possible, technical terms in the sense, let me use an example. We're talking about, okay, you're working with maybe it's not someone in finance, maybe someone in sales, right? Again, you have to understand the company's strategy, their revenue model. Okay, you understand it, and you be curious. So, if for example they use certain words, ask what it means. And then when you use your own words, maybe in the audit terminology or in your accounting terminology, and they don't understand, feel free to explain to the minutest detail possible. Because at the end of the day, you want them to understand and provide you with information that you need to be able to perform your audit. If, for example, if they've never worked on maybe aged receivables or something like that, and they don't know, show them an example to say, you know what I need is a schedule or a breakdown of this balance into this by date or by geographical location or something like that. You need to be able to explain to them. Technical jargons, you are the only one that understands it. If they don't understand it, your work is not done. So you have to put away the jargon, explain as much as you can so that you can achieve your objective. Yes.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much. So we have a question in the chat box, and I want to read it out. So she said, "Good evening, ma'am. My question goes thus: what can you do if the client staffs fail to provide the necessary documents?" I'm coming. Sorry, what can you do if the client staffs fail to provide the necessary documents needed for the audit?
Maybe they are not able to provide it within a certain time frame, possibly because they were not prepared. Maybe at the time of planning, the timelines were agreed, and maybe were not communicated to this staff. First, you need to understand why. Have a sit-down meeting, and if you are working remotely, have a call where you would try to understand exactly what is going on. Could it be that the staff is a new staff and doesn't have the experience? Please talk to the person after you've done your understanding. Talk to the person who is responsible for the audit and let them know that this particular document is outstanding and you would like for them to provide, a suitable date for when you can get the documentation, or a suitable alternative. Because it's okay, for example, maybe you need information from procurement department, or procurement is not able to give it to you, but maybe stores has something similar, right? So the person responsible for the audit might be able to redirect to say, okay, you know what, maybe what you are looking for, you won't get it from procurement, maybe because procurement keeps only records of maybe RFQs, but not the actual full details. So get it a more comprehensive or a suitable alternative from this other unit or person responsible for this particular information. So you have to be diplomatic about it. You're not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but you still need to do your job. So you let the person know that, look, if I don't get this information within this period, I may not be able to perform the procedures required, and may not be able to meet the timelines that we have agreed upon. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Olaide. So before we take the next question, this is just to tell you that the link to Mrs. Olaide's LinkedIn profile is in the chat box. Also, the link to join the FVP community, both on WhatsApp and LinkedIn, is also in the chat box. So feel free to connect. And now we'll take the question from Mr. Muhammad Ridwan. Mr. Muhammad Ridwan, can you unmute your mic and ask your question?
Hello, good evening. Thank you very much for the wonderful opportunity, and thank you for the wonderful section. My question goes thus: for a client, is it possible for an auditor to finish a particular client's work before leaving an entire the company? And if yes, now for an auditor working with a client has one or two issues with this company, and they was not able to finish the client's work and the likes, then another team continues the work entirely. So, and the other team now find out that he was not he was not having flow relationship with the client. In this kind of scenario, what should the team do? Do you get a question?
Well, I'm trying to understand. Do you mean another audit firm entirely came up to take over the audit, or another team within the same audit
Another team
firm?
within the same audit firm. Like the first team lead has maybe one or two issues with his company and was not able, and he was actually stepped down to continue the audit to the audit work. So another team so another team now took up the audit work. So in this kind of scenario, how will it be treated?
Thank you for that question. Thank you so much. So since it's the same audit firm, first and foremost, to your client, the client doesn't see a difference as far as they know. Company auditor 1A is here. Auditor 1A has said they will start the audit and they expect them to finish the audit. Simple. Within the clients, within the audit firm, right? Maybe some internal issues, and the first audit lead or senior was not able to complete the audit, probably due to whatever reason he had to leave. The best course of action would be to prepare a handover note for the oncoming or incoming team. If he's unable to do that, which has happened in the past, when the new team, same audit firm, is going over to the client, they would need to explain to them that, okay, you know what, we had been here previously, former team member has been here, we've collected information. Again, in this case, I'm talking about there's no handover. If there's a handover, things should be seamless. But if there's no handover, you just have to be as diplomatic as possible. The client may complain, saying, oh, but we've given this before. Thank you for letting us know you've given us before. However, you just let them know that the information we have, we need again. It might seem like, oh, what is going on? Is your team not organized? All of that, let it slide. Please, we need the information again. And since you provided it before, I would expect that to be easier for you to just provide again. Typically, depending on how good with technology the audit firm is, there will probably be a drive where whatever information the client has shared with the team is sitting. So maybe do a first look on that drive. Some clients have it that even the client has access to that file or to that drive. So check the drive and say, you know what, before we go meet the client, let's confirm that we have X, Y, Z, or confirm we don't have X, A, B, C. So do that first and then go meet the client. Okay, we don't even have this. We've checked the drive that you also have access to, whether you don't have access to it. We've checked the drive, we couldn't find information, please provide. So that one makes it easier. But if there's a chance that there's no drive, or you need information, you have to ask again. The client may complain, you apologize, you be nice, but you get the information you need so that you can complete the work.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Olaide. Thank you very much. So if you have a question, please can you raise your hand up? If you have a question, please raise your hand up. Or you could drop your question in the chat box. We are waiting for you. Okay, there's Saludin Jamil. You can unmute your mic and ask your question. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon, Mrs. Olaide. We are really grateful for the insights. We really appreciate that. Concerning one of the questions that Mohammed asked earlier, I think it has not been answered. He asked that, is it possible for auditors to finish up all the work they are to perform during the audit? Is it possible for them to finish everything before leaving? So I'm just trying to buttress on the question he asked, actually. So why my own question goes thus. While on the audit field, audit field, audit field, going to audit field, is it a must going for audit field? Because from what I've experienced is that most of the work we are doing is typically online, and some of those verification, except for the fact that we need to verify some assets, the assets, except from that, all other works, like you said, the drive that they will share and everything like that, can it be done? Can't that be shared with us while we are in our office? Because some clients will be in another state while we are in another state, auditing other clients from another state. Is it not possible for them to send out the drive? And if during our APM, the planning management, for asset verification, can we just go down for the asset verification and come back? I hope you get my question, ma. All right, ma. Can I add another question, or should I just stop there for you to answer? All right.
Please go on.
Okay, all right, ma. Also, concerning when we go for when auditors go for audit field work, sorry, when auditors go for field work, the clients will be the one to, all the expenses will be on the clients. Can a client just decide that, okay, while coming, this is the maximum number of people I think I can cater for that you can come with while coming for the field work? So all the expenses in which he or she will incur, as the case may be, won't be much, because we know all the expenses, you're going and coming, your feeding and everything will have to be catered for by the clients. Is there a way that the client can just decide, okay, this is the amount, the max amount in which I can spend concerning your field audits? Thank you, ma.
Thank you so much for those questions. I'll take Mohammed's question first, one I missed out, about is it possible to finish all the audit work in the field? So there are different aspects of audit work. There's the completion, there's the execution, and there's the planning, execution, and how you finish up the completion. So we are specifically now looking at the execution. So certain things you would expect should be done on the field, but depending on the situation, some may not be completed on the field. However, there's still the possibility that information requested can be provided, even though prior to the audit team, even though they're not physically there. But usually that timeline is short because you expect your report to come out not long after. So you can find that, maybe I looked through a set of documents in your office, but some were outstanding, I didn't get everything. So please send me the scanned copy, or, send it to me physically, even if necessary. So yes, it's possible that not everything it's possible that not everything will be completed, but where it is practicable to do so, it is recommended that you finish all the execution steps within the client's premises or during the field visit timeline. So that's for that question. Then you mentioned about audit field visits. Now we know that work can be done completely remotely. So yes, it's happening where audit field visits are just time frames. So we are saying, we'll inspect the evidence between March 1st and March 14th. When we're inspecting the evidence, it means that it's available online. We may not physically come into your office at all. Yes, it's possible. However, certain aspects of the audit, like you rightly mentioned, if I need to do an asset verification, if I need to do a stock count, can't be counting can't be counting boxes from the comfort of my home. You have to physically be there to check that the box of the inventory is actually not empty, that there's actual inventory items within the boxes, and that the stack of boxes that I have counted from floor to ceiling actually exists. So depending on the assertions of the financial statement area that you're working on, field visits, they're not ending anytime soon. Some parts, yes, but not for every financial statement area. Some financial statement areas still need physical visits to complete. Yes. Then about the expense cap. depends on your clients, really. A lot of these things they're not cast in stone. So there's going to be discussion. So if, for example, your client says, look, I appreciate that you have a team of maybe excuse me, a team of 6 people, but I can only afford to house 4 or 3. You also have to be pragmatic. You're not trying to bankrupt your clients. So what you may find is that, okay, you know what? I can tell 2 of my team members to step back. However, it will mean that the people that are coming may actually spend longer. So you need to work out with the client what it is that they can do and what you as a firm of auditors can accept. So it's not cast in stone. Hope that answers your questions.
Thank you, Ma. It did.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you. I've had an educative and enlightening session so far, experience with you this evening. Please, if you know you have another question, please can you like raise up your hand or use the chat box if you know you have another question for Mrs. Olaide. Okay. Okay, we are waiting for you. Okay, there's someone. I'm sure, Ma. Can you please unmute your mic and ask your question? Chioma, you can unmute your mic and ask your question.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, good evening.
Okay, my question is from the client's perspective, how can I handle an auditor that does not communicate effectively, and when you reach out to him, he does not respond. He does not even like based on what I feel, like he cares less about the company because to him it feels like we have other people he's attending to, so he gives the company less attention. Even in critical cases where we have FIRS audit, his responses are just too slow, and he does not even, his attitude to the job is just very, very poor. To me, it's frustrating, Sha, but most times I just feel like there's nothing I can do about it. So I would like to know if there's anything I can actually do to calm the situation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Choma, for that question. Gather that you're talking from the point of view of the client, and you have an auditor or an audit team member who is not responsive, right? Luckily, there are certain channels we can use to resolve this matter. First is to ask or to communicate directly with the audit partner. Now, the audit partner is the person responsible for the audit. You can communicate directly. So depending on your role within the client, depending on your role, if you are sitting as the person responsible for the audit, or you are sitting as someone who's directly involved with the client, with the audit staff, you can communicate directly with your own chain of command, the person responsible for the audit, and say, oh, we are unable to reach this particular staff from the auditor. He is not responsive to any of our requests. We have maybe scheduled meetings, he has not attended. He seems to be too busy for us. So if you are the person who is reporting to the person who is responsible for the audit, the person responsible for the audit will take it up and then talk directly with the partner. Or will try to resolve the issue or talk directly with the audit partner. If you are the person who is actually responsible for the whole audit, you can talk directly with the audit partner. And if the audit partner is not forthcoming, usually there will be an ethics partner within the audit firm whose email and phone number you can have directly. It will be found in the engagement letter. So please refer to that. That engagement letter is the contract or the audit contract that says these are the services that the auditors are providing. These are the responsibilities of the directors, and this is what we expect at the end of the day. If you are not satisfied with our service, please contact so and so person. So there's usually a direct way to report such a matter. Hope this answers your question.
Thank you very much. I think you did because yes. Thank you very much, Ma. So if you still have another question, it is almost 6 and like we don't want to like take too much of your time. If you have another question for Mrs. Olaide, can you raise up your hand? Or you could use the chat box as well. If you have another question. Um Okay, personally, I've learned a lot this evening. I've learned a whole lot this evening. And once again, thank you very much, Mrs. Olaide, for giving us your time to share so much with us. Like people would normally pay to hear this kind of stuff, but you've done it for us free, and like we are very grateful. Thank you very much, ma. And once again, if you check the chat box, I dropped the link to Mrs. Olaide's LinkedIn profile. Do well to connect with her, and also the link to FBP's WhatsApp and LinkedIn communities there as well. Do well to join us. And also, before we go, I would like to say that Mrs. Olaide published a book earlier this year, and if you have a child, if you are a parent or an intending parent, check it is on our LinkedIn profile as well to check our page and place an order for the book. I don't have a child yet, but I think I'm going to place an order because I like what I'm seeing. So once again, thank you very much, Mrs. Olaide, for making yourself available for us this evening. And if you are still here, please unmute your mic and say thank you very much, Mrs. Olaide. Please unmute your mic and let's say thank you to our speaker.
Thank you so
Thank you
much,
very
man.
much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so
Thank you,
thank you
Mrs.
very much.
Olaide.
Thank you very much. And that brings us to the end of the May edition of the monthly meet and chat with the professionals. And this is something we host every month. The Finance Business Partners anchors this program every month and would have another edition in June. So once again, thank you very much everyone for coming this evening. Like it is a lot. Sunday evening is supposed to be used to rest, but you made it available. Thank you very much. And yeah, someone asked for the link, so I would post the link again in the chat box. Do have a wonderful week. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.